Experience for the state is as it was.
May it please you, my Lord, I continue to appear for applicants 1, 2, and 3.
May it please you, my Lord, I appear for the fourth applicant on the instructions of Mr. Engelbrecht. I'm also glad to be before you, my Lord.
So we proceed in the whole of this one?
Yes, my Lord.
There's the court, please. My Lord, so I appeal on behalf of 5 and 6 respectively as before.
As it pleases the court, the state judge requests for the witness to be reminded of his oath.
Yes. You are reminded that you are still under oath?
My Lord, maybe before my little friend commences, in principle, maybe I have to clarify my confirmation of the week. In principle, we have agreed, it appears that the parties will settle in the other matter. But up until they have done so in open court and is registered, one should always err on the side of caution. So as a result, my Lord, I confirm that with a bit of caution.
Just delay the negotiations until Friday.
As it pleases the court, my Lord.
Yes.
Mr. Nyangela, can you take us to page 298 of that bundle? Yes.
Yes, I'm there.
The one with F21 at the top right.
Yes, I'm there.
What is that document?
Okay, this document is a pro forma invoice from Flamingo Commodity Supply CC. It's a document that was obtained from Mr. Philippus Mapopi. The document is dated 12 June 2020 with the code number June/2016-08 bill to Wanakati Investment CC.
Okay. And insofar as this invoice is concerned, what did your investigations reveal?
As far as this invoice is concerned, our investigation revealed that Flamingo Commodity Supply CC is an entity which does not exist. It was not registered with BIPA. That is our findings. And the other finding is that from Fishrot, we could also not obtain such a pro forma invoice submitted to them for payment.
Okay. And through your investigation, did you try to establish if there's such an entity in Caribbean?
We visited Caribbean, and such entity could not be traced anywhere in there.
Oh, okay. You also mentioned that you conducted investigations insofar as Lockheed is concerned, Lockheed Investments.
That's correct.
Did you obtain any statements with regard to Lockheed Investments?
With regarding to low-key investment, we obtained a statement from Mr. Luis Fernandez.
Okay, I just want you to have a look at this document.
You just show it to the lawyers. You can just show it and give it to them.
Your Lordship, the state would just like to request to refer the document of Mr. Perez, the bulky statement.
Okay, you can give it to the witness.
Is it Jose Luis Fernandez?
Yes, Your Lordship.
It's the statement. It's a statement.
I think my level friend can just bear with us we are just trying to track the statement.
It was handed up somewhere, somehow. I see I have two bundles of the same.
The same statement.
Yeah.
Maybe I can just
I see they're requesting for one, perhaps they can
No, I
have one.
haven't made notes on any.
Yes,
Give
Your
it to
Lordship.
Mr. Letubetsi so that he just picks through. I haven't made no notes on it. I hope it's not the one. Just check whether it's not the one where I have written exhibits.
The exhibits inside.
I think it's that one.
The one.
No. No, it's not that one. It's this one.
Nothing appears to be written in this statement, Your Lordship.
Look at L4,
For the one
LF4, B1,
yes, there's nothing written on this.
and
Your
then
Lordship.
actually L4, B1.
Yes, Your Lordship.
Okay, and actually L4, A1,
The agreement.
LF4,
There's nothing.
okay. All right.
Mr. Nyangela, what do you have before you?
What I'm having before me is an affidavit made by Jose Luis Fernandez Perez.
Okay. And in paragraph 1.3, where does he indicate he's employed?
In paragraph 1.3,
I apologize to my learned friend. Perhaps it's of assistance to inquire what my learned friend wants and what type of document is this one. Is it a letter? Is it an email? Is it a sworn statement? Because that will inform my response as to what I make of it, because I do have a number of queries that I would like to bring to the Honorable Court.
Yes.
Your Lordship, it's a sworn statement made by a witness. As the investigating officer is testified to, Your Lordship.
Let me just check one thing, Mr. Patela, before you.
Merci, please, my lord.
Check. If I'm not mistaken, This is the document that we provisionally admitted.
Yes, my lord.
When I don't know which witness was testifying, and the question of, remember when I was asking, I don't know whether you were present, but when I was asking the parties that the equivalent of the old Rule 63, what is it in criminal, what is the equivalent where the requirement that where a document is attested to in a foreign country, it must be before a notary public or before an officer in the embassy of the Republic of Namibia. Then the parties undertook to address me on that aspect later on before, and then I said, okay, we are admitting it provisionally until that issue has been clarified. I think it's this affidavit.
I'm willing to give it a tilt.
Yeah.
I don't think I was here at that time.
Yes.
That is if it was signed in a foreign country.
Yes.
If you go to the last page,
That's
of
page
the
10.
text, page 10,
Yes.
I can't make whether this document was commissioned. In any of the provinces of Namibia, in South Africa, in China, or anywhere else. If His Lordship can see what is written at the bottom of that, because it also doesn't say so. All we know that is that is a document, but I'm saying even before we could, because we could very well argue that it was commissioned abroad, but on the face of it, there is nothing that says that.
During your absence, my attention was drawn to a document, to a page. If you just from page 10,
Yes, my lord.
you have an FY 2384,000.
Yes.
It's in Spanish. It's in Spanish.
Yes, my lord.
And then the next page is blank.
Yes, my lord.
And then there is a next page which says apostille. My attention was also drawn to those documents.
Yes, my lord. I'm making the point, my lord, that those would be third parties that are trying to add something to give life to this document. But, my lord, on page 10, we don't know who's commissioner of oaths or equivalent commissioned this document, what type of oath was administered, what capacity was the commissioner of oaths, if any. I say there is no commissioner of oaths, but if any, so we don't even have to bother about the additional qualifications that have been brought by the other people, which also have their own problems. So my contention is that this document has not been, I'm not even going to say properly commissioned, because if I say so, I'll be giving credence that it was some kind of commission. It was not commissioned. Number two, any of the documents that are attached to purport to give support to whatever the state may wish to do so are only muddying the waters. That language that is in there, whatever it is, I don't even want to commit myself, is not an official language of the court. To make matters worse, I'm not given assistance of what could purportedly have been stated therein. So I don't even want to read what is in there, because I don't want to embarrass myself or the court, for that matter. The next page. His Lordship indicated that FS 3240508 is written apostille. Yes, I see the word apostille, but is it apostille as we understand it? Because that language so we have fundamental problems, my lord, that the commissioner of oaths himself has not committed himself or herself. And therefore, we don't know whether that document was commissioned. And as a result of which, I argue, my lord, that is not in line with our requirements for commissioning of a document. It lacks the material attributes to be recognized by this court. But if my learned friend is introducing it as a love letter from somebody to somebody else, so be it. But as on statement, we say it has fundamental problems. I don't want to waste my time a lot and yours by referring to the proper regulations and the authentication of documents. You'll see that will also have problems there. We don't even have the original of this document before this court. I mean, there are no fundamental problems that I can raise, but at the moment, let me limit myself to those. As a precision, my lord.
Your Lordship, insofar as this case is concerned, the court has already directed that we deal with this document and the statements on a provisional basis. We will address the issues of admissibility at the trial when this matter arises. But on the admissibility, final admissibility of the document for purposes of the bail application, we're also going to address that at a relevant period with the relevant legislation and cases, Your Lordship. But I think for the time being, we can deal with the document on a provisional basis as the court had directed, so that before we are done with our final submissions, we can address that issue as well, whether or not that document should be submitted for purposes of the bail application, Your Lordship.
Yeah, the two of you are putting me in a very difficult position. And the question I'm sitting and asking myself is, I made an order already previously. The question, am I functus on that order that I made?
No, my lord, that's why you were cautious and you said it was provisional.
Exactly.
Provisional, you leave yourself the discretion at the right time when you look at it to throw it out.
So, which means we stick to the provisionality of the document.
My lord, the time now is ripe, as you are requested by this council, to make a final ruling on this document.
Okay.
Yes, because it was provisional. It meant that at the right time we'll raise issues. But I believe insofar as this document is right, you have all the full contentions now. My contention, which I still emphasize, you don't even need to go into all those other further grounds, like the rule that was requested from the CPA. The problem with it is that if you can't even see who commissioned the document, what are we doing with the document? My learned friends can still do some fancy footwork and seek the court to admit it as anything else but a sworn statement. But if they want it to be characterized as such, then they have more problems than they would care to remember. But it's their own baby to kiss, my lord. At the end, we are saying as an affidavit is not an affidavit. Full stop.
Mr. Uittele?
As it is the court, we stand to be guided by the court. Does the court want to deal with the issue now?
Okay, Mr. Patella is basically asking me to deal with it now. So if you want to address me on it now, I'm open to listen to the address and then I'll make a ruling.
As it is the court, Your Lordship, because I was initially under the impression that this issue will be dealt with during submissions. Because the court had requested for the relevant statutes and cases as well when dealing with this issue, when the court did submit it provisionally. Yes. So if that is the case...
Okay. In view of the fact that at the Bay hearing, even hearsay evidence is admissible, I will maintain the provisionality of this document. And when you make submissions, address me fully on it, and I will definitely express myself if necessary.
As it is the
court.
As it is the court.
Yes.
All right. Mr. Kanyangela, do you have the statement before you?
Yes, I do have the statement.
All right. Yeah, you refer that to paragraph 1.3 of the statement.
Paragraph 1.3 reads as follows. I am the operational manager of Loki Investments Proprietary Limited, Loki, since 2017.
All And if you take us further at page 3, the crew and the vessels, what is indicated there?
Page 3, the crew and vessel. It states initially 11 crew members were recruited on behalf of Loki by Maritima Consulting Services CC, Maritima. They were flown to Vigo in Spain to assist in bringing the vessel Eastbourne, herein after referred to as the vessel, to Namibia. In addition, 5 crew members were recruited in Spain, which resulted in 16 crew members in total, arriving on 5 April 2017 with the vessel at the port of Walvis Bay in Namibia.
And if you move on to food procurement, what is depicted there?
Under food procurement, it says, except for a very short time when another supplier was used, the sole supplier of food for the crew of the vessel, as from its arrival at the port of Walvis Bay, to date, is Portuguese Market Garden. I cannot remember the name of that other supplier, but I'm sure that it was not any of the parties mentioned in this affidavit.
And under vessel repairs, maintenance, and vessel management?
Under that heading, it says, in my capacity as operational manager of Loki, I was responsible for the management of the vessel, inclusive of arranging, authorizing, and paying for all vessel repairs and maintenance. And as from the date of arrival of the vessel at the port of Walvis Bay. For the vessel repairs, which is on the next page, page 4. For the vessel repairs, Loki made use of reputable entities possessing the necessary expertise, such as the following entities located at Walvis Bay: Hydro-Weld Walvis Bay CC, Namibian Technica Electricians Pty Ltd, Walvis Bay Marine Engineering CC, African Maritime Services Namibia Pty Ltd, Benguela Enterprises Pty Ltd, Omandi Engineering CC, Elgin Brown and Hammer Namibia Pty Ltd, Barrow World Namibia Pty Ltd, Bader Namibia Pty Ltd, Walvis Bay Mekal CC, and Josma Namibia Engineering Company.
All right, and under allocation of quotas?
Under allocation of quotas 4.2.1, National Fishing Corporation of Namibia Limited, Fishcorp, during the period 2016 to 2019, the following letters bearing the name and signature of the then Group Chief Executive Officer of Fishcorp, Mr. Mike Nyepunya, Mike, were received from Fishcorp and are attached hereto as annexures LFA 2A to 2E.
All right, if you can take us to page 181 of the bundle, what is contained at that page from page 181 to page 185?
Okay, 181.
Are these the letters referred to by the witness in the written statement?
That's correct. These are the letters.
All right. Maybe just take us through the first letter, then we can just quickly go through the others.
Okay, the first letter is a letter on the letterhead of Fishrot, dated 9 December 2016, from Office of the Chief Executive Officer, directed to Mr. Luis Fernandez, the Managing Director, Loki Investments. The subject, confirmation of 1,500 metric ton hake freezer quota. And the content, the National Fishing Corporation of Namibia is mandated to implement projects on behalf of the state as per the designation agreement between Fishrot and the Ministry of Fisheries and Marine Resources, whereby the minister allocates quotas for governmental objectives to the group to advance any social, economic, cultural, or other governmental objectives in the public interest. In light of the above, I hereby confirm that a total of 1,500 metric ton hake freezer quota for governmental objectives is available for the benefit of low-key investments in this regard. I trust you will find all in order. Yours sincerely, Mike Nyepunya, Group Chief Executive Officer.
All right. For the second letter, what is the date on that letter and the metric tons?
The next letter, the date is the 11th of December 2017, and it is confirming the allocation of 3,000 metric ton of hake freezer quota allocated to low-key investments.
Okay, and the next letter?
The next letter is dated the 25th February 2019 for the confirmation of the allocation of 1,000 metric ton of hake freezer quota to low-key investments.
And the next one?
The next one is a letter dated 23rd April 2019 for the confirming the allocation of 2,000 metric ton of hake freezer quota to low-key investments.
And the next one?
The next one is a letter dated 25th April 2019 confirming the allocation of 1,000 metric ton hake freezer quota to low-key investments.
Your Lordship, there's a request for these letters to be provisionally submitted as exhibits.
And these documents were obtained from low-key investments.
Where did you say you obtained these letters?
I said the letters, we obtained them from low-key investments.
All right, the letter on page 181 is Exhibit Z41, and 182 Exhibit Z41 Roman 1, Z41 Roman 2, that's on page 183, and Exhibit Z41 Roman 3, page 184, and Exhibit Z 41, Roman 4, on page 185.
As it pleases the court. Now, with regard to that statement at page 5, what is indicated in the first paragraph?
On page 5, the first paragraph states as follows. With regard to the quotas allocated by Fiscal, no payments were made as Mike had said that Loki was receiving these quotas based on the investments that Loki were bringing to Namibia. Mike repeated this concept constantly and in a general way that the fiscal quotas were being given to Loki so that it could help advance governmental objectives. My understanding of this was that the governmental objectives were the creation of jobs, then in brackets, employment of Namibia citizens, and investments into the Namibian economy, which Loki was doing by establishing itself in Namibia and using Namibia suppliers to provide services to it.
All right. And with regard to the third-party payments at page 6?
Page 6, 4.3.1 is headed Vanakadu Investment CC, and under is a paragraph that is saying, during 2017 to 2018, Loki received the following 2 invoices from Vanakadu Investment CC, Vanakadu for payment. Then 4.3.1.1, invoice number 2017-002, dated for January 2017. This invoice was received from Mike. The invoice indicated that the services contained in the table below had been rendered and the proof of payments effected in respect thereof by Loki are attached here to as annexure LF4 A123. Then we have a table below that which consists of the quantity, the description, the unit in Namibian dollars, the subtotal in Namibian dollars, the VAT, and the total in Namibian dollars.
Okay. What was the description, and maybe just give us the total for the services which are indicated in the description?
Okay, the services that are indicated under description is vessel repair and maintenance 2017, vessel management fees, food for crew, totaling to an amount of 8,750,000 Namibian dollars.
And the table under that indicates payments.
Okay, the table below indicates the payments made to Vanakadu Investments, totaling to an amount of 6,050,000 Namibian dollars.
Okay, and for the next invoice?
The next invoice is invoice number 2018-007, dated 15 February 2018, with the description given as consulting fees for 2018, January to December, in the total amount of 3,881,250 Namibian dollars.
And what is indicated was the total paid for that invoice at page 7 of the statement.
The total payment made for the invoice is a total of $3,881,250 Namibian dollars.
All right. And what comes thereafter?
What comes thereafter is a payment or the invoices submitted from Jaco Investment CC, which reads that during 2018 to 2019, Loki received the 6 invoices stipulated in the table below from Jaco Investment CC, Jaco, for payment. Some of the invoices were hand-delivered by Mr. Othniel Shudifonya. 4.3.2.1, invoice number 2018-001, dated 29 January 2018. This invoice was issued for the vessel repair and maintenance 2017.
Okay. Before you proceed, those invoices, are they attached to the statement?
That's correct. They are attached to the statements as per Annexure LF5A 1 to 2.
All right. I think just take us directly to the invoices themselves. LF5A 1. I think just indicate to us who issued that invoice and to whom was it addressed, and then you can deal with the description.
Okay, the invoice was issued by Jaco Investment CC to Loki Investment Pty Ltd for vessel repair and maintenance 2017 and vessel management fee in a total amount of $3,881,250 Namibian dollars.
All right. And what do we have at the next page?
The next page is a payment confirmation.
Who was the payee and who was the payer?
The payee was Jaco Investment CC, and the payer was Loki Investment Pty Ltd.
And the amount?
Sorry, is that correct, Mr.?
The payee, start with the payee.
Payee
Name.
is who?
That's what just read what is indicated at payee name.
Under payee details, it is indicated payee name, Jaco Investment CC.
Is that correct? That's what I'm asking. Read that name.
The way it's written.
Yeah.
Oh, the Jaco Investment CC.
Is that Jaco?
Jaco.
Yes.
Yes. All right. And who was the payer?
The payer is Loki Investments Pty Ltd.
All
and
right.
the amount is $3,881,250 Namibian dollars.
Okay. Before you continue, can you just inform us what was the invoice number of the invoice that you referred to now?
The invoice number is 2018-001.
Okay. And the invoice number, the payee reference?
The payee reference reads LK, invoice number 2018-001.
All right. Please take us to the invoice at the next page, LF5B1.
The next invoice is from Jaco Investment CC. The text invoice number 2018-002, issued to Loki Investments Pty Ltd for vessel management fees in the total amount of 3,450,000 Namibian dollars.
All right, and the next page.
The next page is a payment confirmation with the payee name as Dajako Investment CC. The transfer amount is an amount of 3,450,000 Namibian dollars. The payee reference is Invoice 2018-002, paid by Loki Investments Pty Ltd.
And the next page.
The next page is an invoice, tax invoice from Jako Investment CC. Invoice number 2018-003 to Loki Investment Pty Ltd for consulting fees, fisheries, investment and expansion in the total amount of 862,500 Namibian dollars.
And the next page.
The next page is a payment confirmation with the payee name as Dayako Investment CC. The transfer amount is an amount of 865,500 Namibian dollars. And the payee reference is Invoice 2018-001, paid by Loki Investments Pty Ltd.
And the next page.
The next page is a tax invoice from Jako Investment CC. Invoice 2018-010, issued to Loki Investment Pty Ltd for consultancy fees January to June 2019 in the total amount of 2,875,000 Namibian dollars.
And the next page.
The next page is a payment confirmation with the payee name as Dayako Investment CC. The transfer amount is an amount of 2,875,000 Namibian dollars. And the payee reference is Invoice 2018-010, paid by Loki Investment Pty Ltd. The next document is a tax invoice from Jako Investment CC, issued to Loki Investment Pty Ltd. The description of the service is given as consultancy fees for July to December 2019 in the total amount of 2,875,000 Namibian dollars.
And the next page.
I cannot recall whether I mentioned the tax invoice number. The tax invoice number is Invoice 2019-011. Okay, the next document is a payment confirmation with the payee name given as Dayako Investment CC. The transfer amount is an amount of 2,875,000 Namibian dollars. The reference given is Invoice 2019-11, paid by Loki Investments Pty Ltd.
And the next one?
The next document is a tax invoice from Jaco Investment CC, Invoice 2019-002, issued to Loki Investment Pty Ltd. The description of the service is vessel repair and maintenance 2019 and vessel management fees, totaling to an amount of 5,750,000 Namibian dollars. Following is a payment confirmation from Jaco Investment CC, SAPE, and the transfer amount is 4,025,000 Namibian dollars. The payee reference is Invoice 2019-002, paid by Loki Investments Pty Ltd. Another document follow is a payment confirmation with the payee name as Jaco Investment CC. The transfer amount is 1 million Namibian dollars. The payee reference is Invoice 2019-002, paid by Loki Investments Pty Ltd. The next document is a payment confirmation with the payee name Jaco Investment CC. The transfer amount is an amount of 725,000 Namibian dollars. Payee reference is Invoice 2019-002, paid by Loki Investments Pty Ltd.
Your Lordship, there's a request for the invoices by Jaco Investment CC and the payment confirmations to be submitted as exhibits.
As far as this is concerned, it must also then be accepted only provisionally.
Yeah, it's part of that document.
That's important.
It's right, Exhibit 42, Z42.
As it plays a court.
That's on, LF5A is Z42. And then from there we started 42, Roman 1. (42) Roman 2, Z42 Roman 2, Z42 Roman 3, Z42 Roman 4, Z42 Roman 5, Z42 Roman 6, Z42 Roman 7, Z42 Roman 8, Z42 Roman 9, Z42, Roman 10, Z42, Roman 11, Z42, Roman 12, Z42, Roman 13.
As it is a court. With regard to the payment confirmation that you referred to, the payee name is indicated as the Jaco Investment CC. From your investigations, did you establish in which entity these amounts were paid?
Okay, these payments were made into the account of Jaco Investment CC.
Okay. All right. If you can continue from paragraph 4.3.3 at page 9 of the statement.
4.3.3. It reads as follows. Upon receipt of the first Wanakadu invoice, I ignored the invoice as Wanakadu was not one of Loki's normal suppliers. A few days or weeks after I had received the first Wanakadu invoice, dated 4 January 2017, but not received during January, but much later, I received a call from Mike telling me to pay the Wanakadu invoices. When I asked why, Mike told me that the payments were in relation to the quotas. Based on this, I initially thought that the payments that Loki were required to make to Wanakadu were linked to and part of the advancement of governmental objectives. Later, I realized that those payments to Wanakadu had nothing to do with governmental objectives or with proper investment plans. It was then at this point that Mike made me understand, through the words that he used, that this was how business was done in the country. It also struck me that these payments must have been the investments that Mike had referred to when the fiscal quotas were given to Loki. By this time, Loki had invested so much in Namibia to set up its business that it had no choice or alternative but to pay the invoices as Mike had requested. 4.3.4, it should also be mentioned that Loki had entered into an agreement of consultancy services with Njako on 10 January 2018. However, as in the case of the Wanakadu invoices, no services were rendered under the agreement or in terms of the Njako invoices. The agreement is attached here to as Annexure LF6. The Njako invoices were paid on the same basis as the Wanakadu invoices, described above, once they were received.
All right. And from your investigations, did you establish if the payments to Njako and Wanakadu were utilized for governmental objectives?
The payments were not utilized for governmental objectives, as per our investigation finding.
All right. And what is contained at page 186 of the bundle?
100. 100?
And 86.
186. $186 is a document which is part of the report by Deloitte and Touch, indicating payments from Low-Key Investments Pty Ltd.
Okay. Payments to whom and how much?
My Lordship, perhaps you must first indicate the document and the source of the document, because there's a possibility of objections that would be raised. Let me first, the source.
He said this is part of a report by Deloitte and Touche.
Yes, Your Lordship, he did say that.
Yeah.
My Lordship, then, can I then also then address my Lordship? As far as the report, the Deloitte report is concerned before this court, that document have also been received at the time because of the objections provisionally. So the evidence that this witness also now led on that particular document should also then be seen in the light that it is not evidence, because there's objections that have been raised and the court have not ruled on that particular document whether or not the Deloitte report, because we have a different stand on that particular score. That's the court basis.
Let me understand. The Deloitte report, when the objection was raised, it was the way I remember is that it was a whole file that the state wanted to hand up, and then there was an objection to that file being admitted, and I ruled there that I'm not going to accept a whole file, but the parties can make reference to individual documents contained in that report. That's how the state started. That's what I remember, unless I'm wrong in my memory.
I'm with my Lordship on that one. But now what they're doing is that because of the objection that has been raised as far as the report is concerned, now they try to get evidence from that particular report in portions onto the record. And that is my objection.
Your Lordship, when we dealt with the issue of the admissibility of the report, as the court indicated, the issue was on the admissibility of the entire document. And the court had reservations referring to portions of the document that have not been testified on. So insofar as this witness is concerned, that is the report that we have in our possession. That is the evidence that is going to be laid at trial. We can leave that evidence now. So really, at the end of the day, if this witness is referring to certain portions of that report, they can do so now, and the court can take that into consideration because it has been referred to in court. So really, there is no basis for objecting to the admissibility of that document at this stage. If there are portions which have not been referred to, this witness can refer to that. And on these pages, I recall we even took it with the applicants who testified on these transactions which are reflected in the report, Your Lordship. So at the end of the day, I respectfully submit that he can testify on the relevant portions of the report which he needs to refer to for purposes of his evidence.
Yes, as I've indicated, I'm not making no ruling now. I will be addressed at the end of, during submissions, and I'll make my findings known if necessary.
As you please, the court, Your Lordship.
As you please, the court.
All right, Mr. Kanyangela, at page 186, that is a portion of that report. And just for record purposes, my colleague should note that in so far as these extracts are concerned, we are not applying for this to be submitted because the report is already before the court. These are extracts from the same report. I
see Mr. Patela is itching to speak.
No, he can stand and say if you want to object. Let's hear his objection.
I am a keen listener. I just want to listen today.
Oh, I thought you were...
No, I was just...
okay.
Yes, my Lord.
Yeah.
As it pleases you.
As it is the court. Now, at page 186 of the bundle, and that is page 332 of the report itself, you've already indicated the payments from Low-Key Investments. What I wanted to find out, payments to whom and how much?
So in table 257 is a summary of payments from Loki Investment Pty Ltd to persons or parties of interest. And under the table, we have two entities which are beneficiary of the payment. In line 101, we have Njako Investment CC as a beneficiary, benefiting an amount of 19,693,750 Namibian dollars. The second beneficiary is Vanakadu Investment CC, benefited an amount of 9,931,250 Namibian dollars.
Okay. And if you can take us to page 191 of the bundle, in particular 337 of the report. Can you just inform us what is that table and what is contained in the table, table 259?
Okay, table 259 is a summary of identified payments to persons or parties of interest linked to payments from Loki Investment Pty Ltd to stroke via Njako Investment CC. Then, in line number 1, we have Njako Investment CC, benefited an amount of 9,833,750 Namibian dollars. In line number 2, the recipient is GTH Trading CC, benefited an amount of 2,300,000 Namibian dollars. Line 3 is Wanyamba Investment Trust, benefited an amount of 1,900,000 Namibian dollars. In line 4 is Fine Seafood Investment Trust, benefited an amount of 230,000 Namibian dollars. In line 5 is Otafika Logistics CC, benefited to an amount of 4,750,000 Namibian dollars. In line 6 is Gregard Investment CC, benefited an amount of 500,000 Namibian dollars. Then in line 7 is Mr. Shodifonya, benefited an amount of 180,000 Namibian dollars.
Okay, and from your investigations, were there any legitimate businesses being conducted between these entities with regard to these funds?
There was no legitimate business conducted by the entities.
All right, and if we go to page 192, table 60, what does that depict? 260. Page 192 of the bundle, 338 of the report. Just the next page. Marked as 192 at the top.
192.
Yes.
Okay, these are payments made from Loki Investments Pty Ltd to Vanakadu Investment CC.
What is the total that was paid?
As per the table, the total payment was an amount of 931,250 Namibian dollars.
All right. If you take us to page 195 of this bundle, in particular 341 of the report itself, at table 261.
Table 261 is a summary of identified payments to persons or parties of interest linked to payments from Loki Investment Pty Ltd to or via Vanakadu Investment CC. Okay, the recipient, as per line number 1 to 4, in line number 1 is Vanakadu Investment CC, benefited an amount of 3,831,250 Namibian dollars. In line number 2 is GTH Trading CC, benefited an amount of 2,748,000 Namibian dollars. In line 3 is a Rongo Clearing and Forwarding CC, which benefited an amount of 2,352,000 Namibian dollars. Then in line 4 is Greyguard Investment CC, benefited an amount of 1 million Namibian dollars.
And insofar as your investigations were concerned, in respect of these funds, could you establish any legitimate businesses between these entities?
We could not establish any legitimate business done among these entities with Njako or with Wanakadu.
Okay. And I think just take us through page 196, the next page.
Page 196 is a summary of identified payments to persons or parties of interest linked to payments from Loki Investment Pty Ltd. Then under table 262, it reads the same as I just indicated as per the heading, consisting of 9 recipients or entities and individuals. In line number 1, the beneficiary is Jaco Investment CC, benefited in amount of 9,833,750 Namibian dollars. Line number 2 is GTH Trading CC, benefited in the amount of 5,048,000 Namibian dollars. Line 3, Wanyamba Investment Trust, benefited in the amount of 1,900,000 Namibian dollars. Line 4, Fine Seafood Investment Trust, benefited an amount of 230,000 Namibian dollars. Line 5, the beneficiary is South Africa Logistics CC, benefited an amount of 4,750,000 Namibian dollars. Line 6, Greyguard Investment CC, benefited an amount of 1,500,000 Namibian dollars. Line 7 is Mr. Shudifonya, benefited an amount of 180,000 Namibian dollars. Line 8 is Vanakadu Investment CC, benefited an amount of 3,831,250 Namibian dollars. And Elongo Clearing and forwarding CC in line 9 benefited an amount of 2,350,000 Namibian dollars.
Okay. Now, insofar as your investigation in this report is concerned, is there an indication as to how much the applicants and co-accused persons benefited from what you've referred to as the Fishrot case and the Namgoma case?
Yes, there is an indication, which is also part of the Deloitte and Touch report.
Okay. Can you take us to page 438 of the report? Your Lordship, I would refer to the report itself. 438 of the report itself, not the states bundle. Mr. Hira. Okay.
Do you have that?
Just
Yes.
Do you have those pages?
Yes, I do have the pages.
Okay.
Okay, the pages are under the heading Identified Transactions per Person, Party of Interest. Then it have table 369. Read as follows. Summary of identified transactions between each person of interest and his business interests and other persons or parties of interest during the period under review. Okay, the table consists of the recipient amount in Namibian dollars in the second and third column. Recipient in line number 1 is Mr. Bernard Martin Esau. Line number 2 is Mr. Esau in his personal capacity, what he benefited in his personal capacity.
All right.
And in his personal capacity, he benefited on payments made into his personal bank accounts, which is an amount of 150,000, and the expenses paid for by other parties of interest, which is an amount of 3,394,453, giving a total amount of his benefit in his personal capacity to an amount of 3,554,453 Namibian dollars. Then line 6, Mr. Esau's business interest, it benefited, which is Ochualongo plot 51cc. It benefited an amount of 1,943,445 Namibian dollars. Then the subtotal for Mr. Esau and his relevant business interests is a total of 5,487,898 Namibian dollars. Then the second beneficiary in line number 9 is James Nependa Hatuikulipi. Under line 10 is Mr. G.N. Hatuikulipi in his personal capacity, which covered the payments made under line 11 and 12 to his personal bank accounts and the settlement of his personal debt. Payments into his personal bank account is indicated as an amount of 32,463,541 Namibian dollars. Then the settlement for personal debts is an amount of 6,500,000 Namibian dollars. Then Mr. G.N. Hatuikulipi's business interest, which is line 14. There is an indication of the total of the entities in which he is having interest and the benefit to those entities. In line 15, Isolé investment number 9CC benefited to an amount of 12,911,623 Namibian dollars. The next beneficiary is ERF1980 Kesebmund Pty Ltd, benefited an amount of 3,014,644 Namibian dollars. The entity in line 17 is Greyguard Investment CC, benefited an amount of 9,274,073 Namibian dollars. Then the next entity is Kambadara Trust, benefited an amount of 12,334,500 Namibian dollars.
How do you benefit in the minus?
My Lord, I just read what is indicated in the report, which was compiled.
We can clarify, go back to the report and clarify that, Your Lordship, because there are also onward payments being made by these entities. But we'll go back to it, Your Lordship, just to give clarity on it. Okay, just
okay, the next entity is MH Property Project CC, which benefited an amount of 14,750,000 Namibian dollars. Then Fonreal Business Trust benefited an amount of 56,250 Namibian dollars. Then the last entity is Tundavala Invest Limited, benefited to an amount of 4,121,883 US dollars.
Okay, and the next entity?
The next entity or the next person recipient is Thompson Tangeni Hatuikulipi. In his personal capacity, all payments made to his personal bank accounts is amount to 17,086,098 Namibian dollars. Payments to Mr. Titi Hatuikulipi's business interest, which consists of Erongo Clearing and Forwarding CC, GTH Trading CC, and Fiti Entertainment CC. It gave a total benefit of 40,556,409 Namibian dollars. And the total benefit of him with his entities is an amount of 57,642,507 Namibian dollars. Then the next beneficiary is Sakeos Edwards Peritiamena Shanghala. In his personal capacity, he benefited an amount of 5,031,064 Namibian dollars. And under his business interest, which is Olea Investment Number CC and Omholo Trust, he benefited to a total amount of 22,715,559 Namibian dollars. And the total benefits for money received through the entities and in his personal capacity is totaling to an amount of 27,746,623 Namibian dollars. The next beneficiary is Ricardo George Gustavo, of which in his personal capacity he benefited a total amount of 15,522,835 Namibian dollars. And in his business, under his business interest, for the payment made to Nangomar Pesca Namibia Pty Ltd, is an amount of 6,935,066 Namibian dollars, making together a total payment or a total benefit in the total amount of 22,457,901 Namibian dollars. The next beneficiary is Pius Natangwe Mwatelulo. In his personal capacity, he benefited an amount of 5,858,100 Namibian dollars. And through the business or through the entities of which he having interest, which are Otwafrika Logistics CC and Otwafrika Investment CC, He benefited a total amount of 8,302,010 Namibian dollars, totaling his benefit to be in the amount of 14,160,110 Namibian dollars. The next beneficiary is Mike Nipunya. In his personal capacity, he benefited a total amount of 2,767,543 Namibian dollars. And under the entities in which he is having interest, which are Wanyamba Investment Trust, Njako Investment CC, Wanakadu Investment CC, he benefited to a total amount of 41,192,852 Namibian dollars, which gives together a total of 43,960,394 Namibian dollars. The next recipient is Nigel van Wyk. In his personal capacity, he benefited to an amount of 1,943,314 Namibian dollars. The next beneficiary is Othniel Nandetonga Shodifonya. In his personal capacity, he benefited an amount of 3,931,669 Namibian dollars. And under the business entities of which he is having interest, which is Fancy Food CC, Fancy Food Investment Trust, Njako Investment CC, he benefited a total amount of 17,523,686 Namibian dollars, which gives a total of his benefit to an amount of 21,455,355 Namibian dollars. The next beneficiary is Philippus Mwapopi. In his personal capacity, he benefited an amount of 814,420 Namibian dollars. And under his entity, which is Vanakado Investment CC, he benefited an amount of 5,630,033 Namibian dollars, which gives a total of his benefit in the amount of 6,427,453 Namibian dollars. The next beneficiary is Maren Brenner de Klerk. In his personal capacity, he benefited an amount of 332,250 Namibian dollars. And through the entities of which he is having interest, which is Silax Investment Number 1 Pty Ltd, Moyo Estate CC, De Klerk Horn and Coetzee Incorporation, he benefited a total amount of $625,603 Namibian dollars, and his total benefit is an amount of 13,957,853 Namibian dollars.
Okay. I just want to find out one thing before we proceed. With regard to Mr. Matelulo, during the relevant time of these transactions, have you established he was the only person with an interest in his entities, Auto Africa Logistics or Auto Africa Investments?
He was the only person, or he was the only member with interest in such two entities.
Were there any other members in any of these two entities? For Matelulo, Auto Africa Logistics, Auto Africa Investments?
In Auto Africa Investments, when the close cooperation was established, there was another member, Mr. Ferdinand. He was having 50% interest, and Mr. Pius Matelulo with a 50% interest in Auto Africa Investment CC.
Have you obtained a statement from this person?
We have obtained a statement from him, and he confirmed of being a member of Auto Africa Investment CC, and he also confirmed that there was a payment made into Auto Africa Investment CC's account, which he indicated to be in a range of 2 million Namibian dollars. And in his engagement with Mr. Pius Matelulo with regarding to this payment, he was informed that this payment that was paid into Auto Africa Investment CC's account was the money for Mr. James Hatuikulipi. He have also indicated in the statement that Auto Africa Investment CC was contracted by Hanganeni to render some services, I think if I'm not mistaken, at a Mona hostel.
Okay. I just want to find out from you, maybe if we go back that issue, with regard to page 441 of the states bundle that has been provided.
441. This is an extraction report, Celebrate reports, This document is part of a report that one of our...
Which one is it?
441, Your Lordship, of the States bundle.
Is it this one?
No, Your Lordship, it looks something like this.
Oh, this is the Deloitte report.
Yes, Your Lordship.
It's immediately after Exhibit Z36, Roman 12.
The way I have it here, it's after the extract from the Deloitte report.
Yeah, no, what I mean, it follows immediately after the Ministry of Finance's income tax assessment to Traffica Logistics CC.
Yes, Your Lordship, that's how it is.
Yeah.
Okay, this page or this document is part of the extraction report, a report that was done by one of our chief investigator analysts on the cell phones that was seized from Mr. Sakil Shangala at the correctional facility. The document...
Before you proceed, just for me to understand, what does extraction report indicate? Extraction is you extract something.
Yeah, it was information extracted from the device or from the cell phone of Mr. Saki Shangala.
All right.
Your Lordship, I believe it's lunchtime. Perhaps it's the appropriate time to adjourn.
Okay. Yeah, then we stop there before we go on.
Yes, Your Lordship.
All right. Quarter past 2?
As it pleases the court.
So, is it my understanding that we will be going up to 5 o'clock or?
Yes, Your Lordship. I think that is what was said yesterday, if I recall correctly. Yes. I think that's what was indicated yesterday.
Yes. No, I just want to confirm that that's an understanding.
No, my lord, it's not my understanding.
It was because of you also.
It was my understanding yesterday, my lord. But we also have other commitments before other courts. We need to respond to our other instructing counsel on those matters. I was actually, my lord, going to plead that we see you in chambers because now we are available for the rest of the week. So it puts us into a very, very difficult situation. But we are available, my lord, and we are ready to proceed. But perhaps we should see you in chambers and then not announce these things. I understand, I almost forgot that we are being recorded live. And perhaps some things are not worthy of saying it. You know.
Yeah, no, all that I wanted, it's good that I actually raised it. Because my understanding was, when we made the concession to start at 11,
yes, my lord,
we said that hour that we are losing, we'll work it in between 4 and 5. But
that is in order, my lord, insofar as it applies only to today. And I'm only speaking for myself. I haven't consulted, but...
Yes, it was only for today.
All right, my lord. But if it was going to be...
No, it was for today.
As it pleases you, my lord.
Yeah.
But anyway, we can always see his lordship privately and...
Do you still have issues? If there are still issues, you can see me now, before, so that at least by 2, so that when we start at 2:15, we know where we are going.
The looks of the state team, my lord, is intended to do nothing but to intimidate. me into...
Fortunately, you have a bench that protects.
Yes, my lord,
Yes.
I will ignore them for the time being.
Yes.
Let me discuss them with my concerns, perhaps with my colleagues, and then we can always approach this. But I was saying, if it's limited to today, my initial reaction will be a little bit much more mellow, my lord, than...
No,
Yes.
yeah, but what I want to know is, I don't want us to come 2:15, and then we waste another 30 minutes first. So if need be, we meet now, even if we eat into our lunch time for 10-15 minutes,
Yes.
so that we know when we come back 2:15 or 2:30, up to what time we are going for today.
My lord, may I confer with my colleagues
Okay.
just briefly?
Let me do this, Mr. Patela. I will adjourn court, and you can just send a message to me. I'm still in chambers until 1 o'clock or 1:15. If you want to see me, you come and see me. If everything is sorted, then we start at 2:15 until 5 o'clock.
That is perfectly in order, my lord.
Yes. Court then adjourns.